This week, we visit the DMV and discuss how historically Black colleges and universities can create and sustain blockchain groups. Today, I'm sitting down with two amazing guests, Sinclair Skinner, Howard University alum, founder of Bill Murray, and organizer of the Black Blockchain Summit at Howard, and Judy Schneidman, program director at the FinTech Center at Morgan State University. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So, first things first, I have to ask you, Judy, as the founder of the FinTech Center at Morgan State University, please enlighten us. How did this process start, and how can Morgan State enlighten other groups to start FinTech or blockchain groups?
You're great. I am actually not the founder. I'm the program coordinator, and Dr. Ali Emdad, who is the associate dean of the business school at Morgan State, is the founder, and Sanjay Bapna is our associate director. He is also the chair of the Information Science and Security Systems at Morgan. How can we, we sort of got together because there was really an interest on the part of the students. They really knew about, some of them knew about cryptocurrencies, wanted to learn more about it. So back in February of 2019, the center officially established, and we got a multi-year grant from Ripple to sort of set things up. And I can tell you all about the programs we're doing, but keep going.
Oh yeah, we'd love to hear more about the programs. But I'm glad you mentioned students were interested. Tell us more about that. How did students get involved to get it started?
So we had a community-wide event and got like over 100 people to hear about blockchain and fintech. And then we held a summit in May of 2019, which we invited people from HBCUs, faculty and students, and had an overwhelming response from students that really wanted to know more and participated in the conference. It's been growing since then.
Absolutely. So you have students who have a thirst for knowledge. They want to learn about blockchain, Bitcoin, crypto, all of these things in a fintech fashion. And I want to ask you, Sinclair, what do you think is the importance of fintech or blockchain groups at the collegiate level?
Well, I think my first exposure to this type of work has been, I went to undergrad at Tuskegee and Howard Universities and School of Engineering. So back in those days, I started back in '87, so I'm kind of old. But back then, we had the National Society of Black Engineers, NSBE, and many of their programs allowed our first, opportunities to meet other students from all over the world, talk about different technologies. But it was really geared towards government work. A lot of it was just about government contracting, and it kind of lost its path. And even if I look at the recent, well, not so recent, but the innovation of technology from Silicon Valley, it literally leapfrogged over to Black colleges because they were still teaching folks to work for large corporations. So back then, Big Blue was the thing to work for. I want to work for IBM. Like, we missed all these little bitty companies that became these hyper growth companies. And then, so when we first established our company back in 2015, Bit Mari, one of the things that we did once we got our initial funding from the Bank to the Future, Simon Dixon's group, we to launch our product, we actually did the first transatlantic bus tour. So we literally took a tour of Howard, Morgan, and this is in 2017, so it's a little before the FinTech program, but it was Morgan State, Howard. We went to A&T, FAMU, the AUC, Atlantic Clark. We went to Prairie View A&M. Went to Tennessee State, and literally we're engaging students, Texas Southern, engaging students and faculty in the area where it was just popping off. So you remember 2017, it was really a little bit before the bubble really started going. So a lot of people still just were very novice to it. It literally was more of a novelty than an industry. So there were people, you had to toss up. It was between engineering school folks and business school folks. So engineering school folks
Gotcha.
literally were laddered. They were the folks who were on it first thought of it like a stock. So they said, "Oh, this money I can make." So you
Mhm.
had a lot of these kind of get rich quick black folks, and again, kind of a little problematic because they weren't necessarily interested in the actual algorithms and the protocols that went into it, but they were more about the wealth generation part of it. And then in the engineering school, it took a little bit more. But we did some of the first at Nesby's one of their conferences. We did the first blockchain event there, and then when you and I look, we got together. When did we do with Roger
CIAA.
and CIAA Black? When was that?
CIAA in Charlotte, 2017,
Was that?
first one ever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah. So the 2007. I think just trying to be pioneers in the place. Not to use term. We're not discovering nobody, but literally, it was really trying to get people to either take it seriously from an engineering perspective and get business people to understand the power of technology, not just the hype of making money and then the scams and the one coins and all the bad. So I think it's been really trying to figure out a good balance between the engineering side and understanding the economics and the financial side, and trying to find a balance with the fact that so much of the money that's going into engineering programs is geared towards government research, making bombs, doing things that are problematic, and not, the days of just like earth shattering, first principle type research. We're not seeing enough of that in the historically black colleges. Much of that,
Oh yeah.
those dollars tied to actual some type of outcome that doesn't allow us to kind of explore, or even the professors to actually have research that they're doing where it's just the principles that are being explored as opposed to some commercial government outcome.
Uh-huh.
Beautiful. Yeah, and Judy, I want you to comment there. What do you think about that
Yeah.
outcome changing?
It's definitely interesting because what we're finding also, you've got the business people, the marketing type people who are looking at exactly DeFi and the disruptive technologies around just how it's going to change the whole banking system and everything there, and looking at how you can make money, of course, and
Always.
always there. But we also are doing a lot of outreach with the computer science and the engineering people. And there is interest now in how to program a blockchain, how to, what does it look like underneath? And one of the things that we're doing is getting the two sides to work together. So we've done a few pitch competitions where the team has to include business people and, and the practical side. So come up with an idea, tell us how you're going to use it, and build it. Actually build a prototype, make it happen. One of the things we are working on is a supply chain use case in the Virgin Islands, because the University of the Virgin Islands is an
Nice.
HBCU, and
Mhm.
which I just love, like, we want to go have a conference in the Virgin Islands,
I
but they've got people from both sides, and they're working together. They're coming up with. They're also working with the Hyperledger project at the Linux Foundation to do the coding, and it's an amazing project because they're really identifying a need within their own community for food, basically for the food supply, because they're a little island. They keep having hurricanes, and
Mhm.
a lot of their food is being imported. Where while they're growing food on the island, but it's a supply chain problem, and blockchain can definitely help with that. And so they're really working. Um, to work with the local farmers to get their produce into grocery stores, so that people aren't waiting for things coming in off of container boats and having food spoiling in the fields. So
Oh man,
there's
never good.
opportunities. You say the small things, and people are
Mhm.
coming up with all kinds of applications. I mean, we're also working with some big companies like IBM is there.
Mhm.
they're moving into type technology also. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
And I do want to comment for those college students who are watching, in the blockchain engineering space, on average, they make about 30% more than the regular tech field because of scarcity. There are not that many blockchain engineers. I've talked to companies. I'm sure you all have as well. There is a scarce problem. They can't find people who can understand this technology and build on top of it. So this is a wide open market. And I think that blockchain groups are a great pipeline to these companies. And I applaud the work you both do. And I want to ask you both, I'll start with you, Sinclair. Name me really quick, 3 things, just 3, you think each blockchain group can do when starting at their local school. Just name me 3 things they can do to get started and to get it rolling.
Definitely, the classic, what we all know is the meetup. We got to do the meetup. So the first thing to do, and I think is in the tech space, is always having a meetup. So I think getting the word out to your friends and family. I always tell people, start with a circle small. You don't have to get everybody, but get some folks who are interested. So start off with that. I think that's the first thing. I think also, getting that access to the white paper. I think it's always like, if you're going to talk Bitcoin, you got to talk the language, and we got to talk about it from the context of Satoshi. So making sure you get access to the white paper, I think is super important. What would be my 3? I think 3 is a good answer. I think one of the things I always do is always make sure you get everybody's information. Anytime somebody walks in the room, make sure they sign in. And that sign in paper, I know it sounds silly, but you want to be able to track, keep up with everything, and making sure you have a sign in sheet is probably golden. So those are my 3.
I love that.
Gotcha. And Judith, what are your 3? Give us your 3.
Yeah, Zoom makes it easy because they have to register. We capture their information when they register. The 3 things I would say, I think I'm looking at it more as an organizer, and my experience with our own blockchain clubs at Morgan and Bowie and Norfolk. We've got a couple of them up and running right now. And I think the first step, I would go the other way, which is to just recruit everybody on campus. We've got 7,000 students at Morgan. We sent out a blast email to everyone, and we pulled in people, not just, don't limit yourself to the business school or to just computer science or engineering, but the whole campus. We've had people in biotechnology who are really interested in this, because I think that blockchain technology is going to affect the entire, everywhere, all parts of the economy. And I would also say that blockchain clubs should work with recruiters, because just like you just said, we're finding that recruiters are banging down our door because they're looking to increase their diversity. And, we've had a few programs where recruiters, not just to interview people, but to actually just give pointers, give ideas. How do you work in this space? How do you network virtually? That was a big one last week. But also blockchain clubs can do a lot in the area of getting students to do extracurricular things, getting them to do certification programs, like getting badges, getting things so that they have that credential to put on their resume. When they're out there and they're looking for a job, they're looking for an internship, they can point to, hey, I'm a certified blockchain, whatever. But it really goes far. It really goes far. And like you just said, know the language, know the lingo, teach people the basics, again, so they can be excited about what they're, the field they want to go into, and when they're talking to prospective employers, this is really important.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think we have a perfect mix of companies looking for diversity, because on average, companies who are diverse make 33% more. And then you have students looking for jobs in an industry that is brand new. So we have this perfect mix, and I'm glad you all were here to speak about HBCU, blockchain, and fintech groups in order to create that pipeline forward. And I want to finish up here with one question for each of you, and I'll start with you, Judith. What type of solutions in the future are possible to get students to join and to get these students into these positions in the blockchain industry?
Um, Going forward, we've been doing a lot of pitch competitions. So really getting especially Black students to use their creativity, because as you probably know, small businesses are the engine of driving employment growth. And becoming your own business owner and your own boss is definitely the way to go. And because these ideas are so new and the technology is so new, we're getting students to really think like entrepreneurs and come up with their own ideas. We do pitch competitions. We get local business owners. We've gotten some venture capitalists involved to let students pitch their ideas and just encourage them to go out there. We've got one at Stillman. We did a pitch competition where one of the judges is working now with the winning team to actually create a business and find funding for it. So I think there's a lot of not just Big Blue, but really looking at startups and being your own startup.
Yes.
I think that, yeah.
Absolutely. And in the future, we definitely will see more of that. And Sinclair, if you will, let us know what are some future solutions to increase membership and to get students into these blockchain companies.
Yeah, I think what Sister said was the truth. Is I think unfortunately, or just the reality is, the blockchain industry is just as racist as the rest of the technology space. The reason why we don't see more inclusion is because they've been excluding us. So if we're kind of clear that they're excluding us, we could either wait for them to change or we could actually change it. And I think just as you and many of us have actually started our own companies, I think what Judy has said is that actually having more of us go back and connecting our young people with opportunity. Most of the solutions, just as Judy talked about, even in the Virgin Islands or any place, a lot of these solutions that we find in our communities need our technical understanding. When I was at Howard, we thought not being able to catch a cab because they were racist was a political science problem, but in actuality, it was a computer science problem that was resolved in a lot of ways by rideshare. So we use that same concept with our organization. I Love Black People. We're even taking blockchain and when I start talking about blockchain, don't forget about these second and third layers. We really are bullish on Lightning. And I think there's still so much, especially we're talking about transaction speed, transaction costs. There's some real opportunities, and we shouldn't be trying to just reinvent some wheels. There's some actually amazing wheels that just need something built on top of it so we can ride on out. But definitely entrepreneur, like you said. Awesome.
Entrepreneurship, definitely. And we have to change the mindset, right? You have to get students to start thinking, hey, you shouldn't just be learning to get a job. You can also start your own, maybe have a unicorn company. And in the tech world, the HBCU student body and population is sorely needed. So to follow up, we have local communities, we have collegiate level, but what role will corporate sponsors play in increasing the amount of students and the pipeline of students at historically Black colleges and universities? And Judith, I want to ask you first, how will this corporate sponsorship affect the FinTech groups?
They're like, we have Ripple, which not only is sponsoring us, but they've created a university blockchain research initiative where they're working with like 39 universities all over the world to develop, as you say, the pipeline. They want that freshness, the research, the innovation, the good ideas, and they're looking to hire people. And we've talked to other companies as well. We've talked to Accenture and Visa and IBM, and a lot of these companies are wanting to invest money in developing their future. And they realize that this is a brand new industry. It's very disruptive technology, and they need people who are savvy about this stuff. And I think HBCUs can get a leg up on all of this by just jumping on these opportunities. And someone said last summer, a lot of companies wrote a lot of checks about wanting to increase diversity and, seats at the table. Let's bring your authentic self to work. So I think our HBCU graduates and our interns can do a lot to change the face of the tech industry, high tech in general, and bring their authentic selves to work. And I think that these companies need that because they need that perspective to be able to move forward and make a difference.
So Sinclair, what do you think the role of corporate sponsorship will play in historically Black colleges and universities, blockchain groups?
I think, like Judy said, it's definitely a part of the puzzle that we need to solve. And I think as it relates to funding, the corporate sponsors will do a lot, especially, if they use it in a way that allows these creative young people to develop ideas that could even be companies that they subcontract to. So I think the relationships with the students could be in many, it could be actually a straight hire and actually hire someone, or it could literally be in ways creating incubators that allow some of these great ideas to be developed, and their first client would be one of these large corporations. So I think as we explore the different relationship and types, we can really see some opportunities. And since this is such an early, there's no 30-year veterans in it. So it really does, like Sister said, gives us a leg up, because literally we're all starting off with like just 2 days in. So definitely awesome.
Oh yeah. So if you're a corporate sponsor and you're looking at HBCUs, two things: money, exposure. And that's two great ways to help start these blockchain groups and sustain them long term. Judith, Sinclair, thank you for coming onto the show. I appreciate you for joining me on Community Crypto today.
Thank you.